Welcome to It's Too Early Podcast, the podcast for the young workforce in Central Illinois who are up early and building something great. I'm your host, Jack Hart, and every Tuesday and Thursday, I sit down with the next generation of workers, leaders, and creators to talk about how they got started, where they're headed, and what keeps them going. These are real stories from young people who are figuring out and forging their path. Because sure, it's too early, but the coffee's on, the mics are hot, and we got stuff to talk about. Let's get started. Good morning, guys, and welcome to It's Too Early Podcast. I'm your host, Jack Hart. Super thrilled to be here this absolutely wonderful morning. It's a little bit hot outside, but it's nice and cool in here. Today, I've brought a special guest from the Pleasant Plain area, which is about, I'd say, 15 minutes north of Springfield, Illinois. We have Ani Brewer. Ani, thank you for joining us today, and welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So I've known Ani for several years. We used to go to church events together on Wednesday nights. I've known her from a lot of, mutual friends, and now we went to ISU together, lived really, next door. So I've known you for a good amount of time and got to see you really grow and become the wonderful young woman you are today.
Yeah.
All right, so Ani, you do interior design. You've been in the interior design industry for a while. There's a lot to learn about that, and we're going to really dive into that. I'm excited to dive into a new subject a lot of people don't know. I didn't know much about interior design until you showed me your projects, what you're doing, what you're working on. So I think the viewers today will be super excited about that. So Ani, you're from Pleasant Plains. It's a small little town north of Springfield. Tell us really about Pleasant Plains. How did it shape you? How did it make you into who you are today? How did your experiences from elementary school to high school? What did you get out of Pleasant Plains?
Well, I got a lot out of Pleasant Plains, I'd say. I started off at SES for a few years and then switched over to Pleasant Plains, which I think was very hesitant at first, just because it was a big difference of schools. But I really enjoyed it. I made some really good friends there and had a lot of good different life lessons and good teachers that taught me different things and, always pushed me and was supporting me. I just remember, I think it was senior year, I was in a plant greenhouse class, and our last project was to come up with like a random cafe or something and just make it your own, and so everyone kind of just like drew some boxes and kind of just labeled what they'd have, but I went the full 9 yards and made a whole 3D rendering of like a space that I wanted, and of course I got an A+, but
Of course.
but my teacher was like, "You're really good at this," and I was like, "Meh," but I think she kind of talked me into like actually going to school for interior design, which was definitely something I wasn't actually going to pursue, but here I am, and I'm really grateful that I did, because I learned different things, and even about interior design, learning different things is interesting, learning new things every day.
Of course. No, that's awesome that is really what shaped you in going into interior design. So we're looking into colleges. What made you decide to go to ISU to really, study interior design? Because there's a lot of choices. A lot of people, they change what they're doing in majors. So what made that passion? You're like, okay, I'm going to stick with this in high school. I'm going to keep going. And why ISU?
So I at first went to Millikan my freshman year. They had me kind of architectural design.
Yeah.
But I was doing a lot of film and photography stuff, and I was like, am I going to get to do, design stuff? Long story short, I was not going to ever, so I was looking around at schools that were close by, and ISU, I think off the bat, coming out of high school, I was like, I don't really want to go to like a big, university or anything.
Yeah.
But ISU had a really good interior design program that my cousin had went to, and I just heard good things. And they're an accredited university for interior design, so it's kind of just another credential that looks good on your resume and whatever. So that's why I picked ISU, and I learned a ton and had a great time, and made some really good friendships there as well. So, yeah, I really enjoyed ISU.
Awesome. No, I love that. So you went to ISU. You come from a small town. I was the same way. I was kind of nervous, but it was a wonderful school. It's kind of that big school, small feeling, which
Mm-hmm.
is very nice. So when you were thinking into interior design, were you a creative kid? Were you into like a lot of projects and doing arts and crafts? Because I know for myself, I never was into that stuff. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, when it done for me, I don't like Legos. Were you that person to make a lot of art projects when you were younger?
I think what kind of like stuck out to me, I wasn't super crafty. Like, I remember taking classes at Millikan for like drawing and stuff. Not a drawer, not a sketcher. Like, I'm not good at that stuff. Um, if I needed to be, I could be. But I think I was more of the being really organized
Hmm.
person. I really like if you catch me cleaning, I'm probably just de-stressing because that's my go-to thing, which is kind of odd. Um, but I think just kind of decorating and organizing different stuff is kind of what made me see the HGTV stuff and like, ooh,
Oh, that's
I
always
like
popular.
that. But the first thing they tell you at ISU, it's like, if you're here because you think it's all HGTV stuff, it's time for you to hit the road because it's not. And I think a lot of people actually, um, you know, with interior design, I think a lot of people think it's the cutesy stuff and they get the decorating and design stuff mixed up, but it's not. So that was just, one thing that I kind of had to sit with and be like, what was I really thinking interior design was.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
What was your favorite HGTV show, if I had to ask?
definitely Fixer Upper.
Fixer Uppers are a very good one. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I liked Flip or Flop. That was my favorite one.
I never watched that very much.
It was good. I mean, it was
Mm-hmm.
good until like they got changed and I think they got divorced or something.
Yeah.
But Fixer Upper's a good one. So have you been down to Waco and Magnolia? Is it
Mm-hmm.
Magnolia Lane? Is that what it's called down there? Am I
I think it's the Magnolia.
Magnolia?
There's Magnolia Lane here in town.
Yeah, that's why I knew that.
Yeah.
If you want to go to Magnolia Lane, here you go. There's your free advertisement. I have no idea. I think that's a thrift store.
Yeah, you can get furniture and stuff from
Okay,
there.
there you go.
Yeah.
Cool. So how was it? Is it a cool area down there in Waco?
Oh yeah, we went during my spring break last year, I think. No, 2 years ago. And I can't remember what all they had there, but they had food trucks and little baseball diamond and little shops. There was a bunch of cool things, and her design style is something I really like. So I was
Yeah.
just kind of in heaven there for a little bit. But yeah, it was a great time.
Yeah, Chip and Joanna Gaines are wonderful. I used to watch as a kid. My mom loves them.
Yeah.
Great show, great Christian family, which is definitely important. So to go along with interior design and becoming, the work person you are in the workforce, what were some of those people who influenced you? You said your teacher back in high school. Were there some professors, some people kind of really pushed you and said you just were influenced by them? I mean, even Chip and Joanna Gaines, you could say they were an influence.
I think my biggest influencer is my dad, actually, because he does a lot of, carpentry stuff
Yeah.
and construction stuff. I grew up watching him, remodel our house and build a barn, like all by himself. He never wanted anybody doing anything for him. That's just who he is. But I think just seeing him with all the tools and doing stuff on his own, that kind of, made me put two and two together of I want to do that one day. And even right now, like I'm like I want to, learn how to use a drill. Like I should probably know how to use that, but have I really actually, used the drill? No. But, just stuff like that. So I think he was definitely my biggest like I watched him as I was growing up
Yeah.
and I wanted to kind of have some of that knowledge. Um, Professor wise, I don't know. I mean, I feel like everyone is kind of like, good job. Some people I think really push you in a way that maybe you don't like, that's uncomfortable. We had a lot of critiques in class, and it was like we'd all gather around a table and you would look at each other's projects and you would have to like critique them. Like you would
Yeah.
basically have to say something bad about them, which that I get it, but it's also kind of like, man, like did I do anything right? But looking back at it, did I still feel uncomfortable with it? Yes, but it definitely like made your project build more and change things that maybe you didn't catch the first time that you did on your own. So I think, as a whole, professors just kind of helped you along the way.
Yeah, of
Not so
course.
much like influence, but
No, and that's what I mean. That's what their job is: sit there and
mm-hmm.
push you. And I've had professors who've always pushed me and like, why did you? I feel like this looks perfect, but you don't think about it,
Mm-hmm.
especially in interior design. But like you don't think about a part that's missing maybe in it.
Yeah.
So cool. So with going on here, so you've been doing interior design work. What is your favorite part of doing that work? What does Ani Brewer love to do? What part of that aspect do you like? I can get up every morning and just do that.
Yeah. I think my favorite part is just taking people's ideas that they have in their brain and like putting it into like an actual 3D render. Like for me, I love 3D renders. I don't know what it is about it. I just, if you in your room here said, "Oh, I wish I could do this," but I don't know if it'd actually work. Well, instead of just, kind of drawing it out in your brain and be like, "Oh, yeah, it might work," I would just love to, give you the actual space for you to see in a render.
Yeah.
Because that's just so much better. I mean, for me, I'm a visual person. So just kind of taking people's thoughts that they have in their mind and bringing them to life is something that, I don't know, I just like to see people kind of enjoy what they're getting and really see what they're getting instead of kind of wasting some time. Because I think that's kind of a problem sometimes.
Oh, of course, of course. I mean, if you try to get stuff out of my mind that I would be done in a house, it's gonna take a little while.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. So going along with that, it's really hard to understand people's, ideas, behaviors in their head. How do you process that? How do you sit there and have the patience and learn from like, okay, I want to have this kitchen, I want to have this looking. How do you think that in your mind and say, okay, I'm gonna take that from someone else's mind and put it on paper? Is there a process to that?
Yeah. I think everyone does it differently. For me, it's kind of like, say you told me you wanted an office space and you gave me a list of things that you needed.
Yeah.
And you already had a space, and it's kind of like, for me, you take what you have and what you want to have and kind of just make like that mood board thing.
Yep.
And just kind of see where you can get at and then kind of just start small like that and, take your steps as you need to. And which, that's a fun part. It also can kind of be a little, like you said, it could be kind of rough sometimes because it's like, oh, if you say you wanted something, but I interpret it as something else and it's completely different from what you want, that can definitely kind of, not always be a super fun part of the job. But it's also, there's always learning with this job, I feel like.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I learned because there's always something new. It's not the same thing every day, which I think with different clients is something that keeps me occupied. It's like no same client is the same.
Oh yeah.
They're all different. They all want something different, whether it's different colors, different styles, different anything and everything. But yeah, it's just, it kind of changes through clients of how you take different steps.
Yeah, I mean, so every person's gonna have different variety
Mm-hmm.
and design, and then I mean that's probably keeps you excited, right? You always probably keep
Yeah.
me like, oh, I get to do something else totally different on each project, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that. So you've done a lot of projects to work through in the past. What's your number one favorite project you've done?
School-wise, my favorite project was definitely my senior capstone project that I did. I did a hotel kind of based off of the Boston Fairmount Coplay Plaza
Okay.
in Boston.
Producer, make sure we get a picture of that. I have no
Gotcha.
idea what it looks like.
But so it's a real old money, classy hotel. Well, kind of like a conference center.
Yeah.
Big space. That's kind of what I was aiming for, but I wanted to kind of work with hotel stuff just because I really like to focus on ADA compliance, which is the America's Disability Act. So just making sure everything's accessible for
Yeah, of
people
course.
with wheelchairs, canes, crutches, all that good stuff. So I kind of took that space, put in some hotel rooms, and kind of just really dove deep into the codes. And for me, that was really interesting just because it's, different. And I got to work with my own kind of vibe, which was kind of that old money aesthetic, which I don't know why I'm so obsessed with kind of like the old
That's
money,
a cool.
like
It's a
vintage.
cool aesthetic. I love that stuff.
Yeah, just the dark colors, dark wood. I don't know. I really enjoyed that. And then like just outside of school, my favorite was I helped kind of work on the restaurant Valet
Yep.
here in town. They added a speakeasy, which is now open. Um, but they, for my internship with them, they kind of just had me build up a 3D render and kind of help them visualize what the space would be. So that was really fun just because I think that kind of just started my mind with the old, like, classy, um, kind of the vibes that it went
Yeah, of
for.
course.
The different wallpapers that they had. Just, I've never really worked with a bar area. So that was, like, super fun to me. And it turned out great. And I know they changed some things, and I still need to go in and see the place because it's like, all my school stuff, it's fake projects. But this one was real and it's like actually existing.
What's the place called now?
It's still Valet, but I don't really know if the Speakeasy has its own name because it's attached.
It's attached to Valet.
Mm-hmm.
That's a wonderful, great company, by the way. Amazing restaurant. So, look at you go, working for a big Springfield company. They just won an award at the Small Businesses for the Chamber of Springfield the other day.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, there's good people over there. Really enjoyed Nikki and Jim Wilson. But so yeah, that was definitely my favorite so far. Just so much to work with and something new, and it was definitely challenging for me at first, but I really enjoyed it. So
Awesome. So you're designing Valet. You're working on, I know, a new concept. You said you like the old money style. Is there a design today that you're really like for people to have in their houses, or you really specify in your favorite type of design that's more modern, but you could also bring any type of design? What's your favorite?
my favorite style, I kind of like the farmhousey vibe, but also rustic.
Okay.
I don't know. I like to play a lot with, if I could have farmhouse, but not make it like farmhouse.
So like the barn
Barn
style, right?
dominiums?
Yeah, that's what they're called, barn dominions.
Yeah.
I know those are really popular right now. I don't know
Yeah.
if that is what you're thinking, or are you thinking more of the actual just farm style house?
It kind of just varies. I like the barn dominiums, but I think it's more of the shiplap and the wood.
Yeah.
But the one thing, I don't know why, I really like is like colored ceilings, or like if you have, instead, you walk into houses or places, it's always usually a white ceiling.
Yeah, of course.
But when you play around with like making it black or having the crown molding, or I don't know, I've seen someone put wallpaper on their ceiling, and it just looks super cool, and I don't know, it's something different. So yeah, I just like kind of, I don't know, having one style and then kind of throwing in other ones to kind of just, make it into something I like. But I don't know, I like all of them. Nothing too modern.
Yeah.
That's just not.
There's a lot of, it's kind of plain. The new modern style, I feel like it's very plain. There's a house in Lake Springfield I drove by the other day. I'm like, this kind of looks boring. Like, I kind of want to bring back the more, it doesn't feel homey.
Yeah.
The homey feel to it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, and I'm just going to have you design my house because I kind of want to try a ceiling with a little bit of color on it.
Yeah, I don't know, it makes the space feel different and kind of even bigger sometimes.
That's true. I mean, every house you walk into, it's a white ceiling or a white popcorn ceiling or something.
Yeah.
So given that variety, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. All right, Ani, this is my favorite part of the section. It's called Think Fast. And you got to think fast. As Zach Brewer would say, you better think fast. So, first question I got for you. It's a little geography. Well, it's history. You better know this. This is a question you probably, I don't know if you'll know. What year did Illinois become a state?
I don't know.
Think back to your 8th grade, 7th grade geography. Mr. Producer, you know the answer to this one?
I would guess.
All right, let's see. Do you got any idea?
I don't.
What do you think, Mr. Producer?
1818.
Look at that.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I had the 18 part in my mind, but
I'm just glad you didn't say like 1920 or something, or 1700, because someone would have said that.
To be fair,
18
I took that class a lot more recently.
I guess you just got out of high school.
So, yeah.
it's fresh
I'm
in the
sure
brain.
that I'll forget it when I'm
I
a
think we
little
need to
bit.
add. I think we
Yeah.
need to add Illinois history to interior design because you never know when you'd be like, oh, this house was built in 1818. That's when
Oh
Illinois
yeah.
was.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope that no one's living in it since it was built in 1818, but you never know.
Yeah.
Good. All right, second question. This is a fun little interior design question. What is a term for a color scheme using different shades of one color?
Say that again.
I'll repeat. What is the term for a color scheme using different shades of one color? I'm going to stomp her on her own
Yeah,
interior
you are.
question.
It's gonna be something really basic too.
It is easy. I could tell you this. This beginning of this word is used for a lot of different words. It's like I think it's a Greek. It's either Greek or a Latin root. It's a Latin root. That's what it is.
I don't know.
Monochromatic.
That would be that.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Okay. Next thing to do is we're gonna go geography, and now you gotta study your
Yeah, for real.
because that's a Latin root. Mono meaning one. Fun fact, Mr. Producer, mono needs one. All right.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Did you not learn that in Taylorville? They probably don't teach you Latin roots in Taylorville.
No.
They're like, no, we're going to skip over that down here in Christian
Get
County.
right to the Illinois history.
We're going right to exactly. They do really well in Illinois history.
I definitely learned that in school too, but you know.
I know you knew that.
Here
I
I am.
learned that in stagecrafts class. I took a stagecrafts class, and you can only imagine me in a stagecrafts class.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do much work. It was more a chatting class.
Yep.
But that means I've done it, so I can build you a stage if you need.
Yeah, there you go.
It probably wouldn't work well. All right, third and last question. You better know this one. I'd be very, very, very ashamed. Who was known for his incredible strength? This is in the Bible, by the way.
Samson.
I didn't finish my question. And lost his hair that was cut. What's the answer, honey?
Samson.
All right, good. I was about to say, if you didn't know that Bible question, we're going to go back to Bible study and we're going to study Samson.
Nope. I'm glad that's the one I knew.
I am too. You know, out of all those, if you didn't get that one right, God would be ashamed.
Yeah, I would be too.
Did you know the answer to that one, Mr. Producer?
Yeah.
See, Mr. Producer knows it.
That's the important one.
He's a good Christian boy. He also knows his Illinois state facts because he's actually very smart.
Yep.
I'm gonna ask you another one because why not?
Okay.
I'm gonna ask you one that was used in the past. Maybe if you listen to my podcast, you know the answer to it. What's the only planet that it rains diamonds?
Does this start with an N?
No,
An A?
no.
I don't know.
I love these planet questions. Give me some guess. What do you think?
Jupiter?
Oh, you got it right. Look at that.
Wow.
Look at that. Minder, if you're listening to this, she got it right in the first try. Didn't list every
A lot better
planet
than Minder.
until there. Shout out to Minder. I think he's doing well, but I just had to give him a shout on his planets to see if you knew that question. All right, we're going to continue talking today with this wonderful young lady. We're going to go into something that really I think has shaped you, has had an impact on me. It's your faith. It's your faith in God and Jesus. So I want to say, how does your faith influence the way to you approach your life? Do you approach your work ethic? How would you say your faith has had an impact on that?
That's something I haven't really, thought too much about. But I think, it affects everything. I think when I think of my faith and kind of how I work with it in my career or job, it's just, I think the one thing that I can say is just how I interact with people. Because with design, it's interacting with a ton of clients. And I think even right now I'm working at Menards. Shout out Menards.
Save big money at Menards. All right, continue.
But it's just like so many people there's not dissing on anyone, but there's so many grumpy people in the world.
Got a point.
And I think for me, my faith always just calls me to be someone who, if you see someone who kind of looks down or, is a little grumpy, I just want to, ask how they're doing, how their day is, have a good day. So for me, it's just, even if I'm not having a great day, how can I show God to those people who really aren't having a great day? And, then maybe later I can just pray for them. And, they may be complete strangers. I mean, most of them are. But it's just, showing Jesus from afar sometimes isn't a horrible thing. But then it's just like, how can I, really show him and be a light for him.
Yeah, no, I love that. And shout out to you. You've definitely been a light for me in many cases. There's times I've struggled in college and in life, but you've always brought me closer to God and said it's going to be okay. And now we have this bond that it's going to last forever. So keep doing what you're doing, I swear. And I agree. I think there's a lot of grumpy people in life, and I always try to, be the most positive, silly person, just because you never know what someone's going through. You never know what they're struggling with. They're struggling with a really hard sin, but just to be something small, sometimes it makes someone else's day.
Yeah.
So don't change.
Okay.
I didn't think you were going to, but just don't change. So with interior design and your creative mind, and then your spirituality, is there any projects that you kind of combine? Is there a way you can go on? Have you worked on, designing some cool churches or something that, you've worked with both those?
Yeah. I mean, for my capstone project, I definitely thought about kind of designing a church,
Yeah.
like a chapel, just because there's, something really traditional with the stained glass. But there's definitely a lot that you can do with design that can kind of bring out faith, whether it's, I don't know, like the decorations you put up, or, your clients tell you something that they kind of want shown through their design or of a home. It's like, you can work that kind of stuff into design. Yeah, that's all I got for that.
It's perfect. You said it perfectly. You're perfect. So, your faith it's brought you a lot of wonderful things in life. It's also blessed you to be an athlete and a great runner. I mean, I've ran with you several times, and you stuck right behind me the entire time. And I'm
Right behind you.
Yes, till I sprint at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I try to block. We've had times I had to block the wind for you.
It's true.
So we done a lot of running. So your runner back today. What did running really teach you about discipline and about life? How has running shaped who you are today?
I think the one thing running has definitely taught me when I, kind of look back at it as a whole, it's just like, you think that maybe something isn't working or, showing the effects like right then and there. But then when you look back at it, there's a ton of progress to where, at the end, it did pay off. All that work paid off. All the 5 a.m. practices, all the sweat, all the tears, all the pain, all the, foot surgery, it may not feel like a step forward sometimes,
Yeah.
but, in a big picture, it did do a lot for you. And, right now, as someone who's kind of, getting in the workforce, it's like, it may feel like there's nothing right now, like there's no jobs, like, that you can't find anything. But it's like right now, God has me where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
And one day I'll look back and I'll be like, yeah, I couldn't have gotten where I am if I didn't, work at Menards, So, yeah.
I love it. No, it's perfect. And, you keep running. You still run today, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, good. Still running all the time. She runs more than me. I need to be better at running. I ran the other day. I'm going to run after this, actually. So I got to keep going. I'm going to run the heat, by the way. I'm probably going to die.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah, one thing I tell people, if you are a runner, keep doing it, because if you lose it, it's tough to get back. What is, with running in high school, in college, at Millikan, what is one of your favorite memories of running? Do you have a really good running story or event story? And 5 a.m. is ridiculous for running in the morning. Props to you for that.
Sometimes it was good to just get up that early, but
I don't know.
especially if it's hot.
Yeah.
A good running memory. There was a ton of really good memories. Whether it's people coming out to watch me run. I think one of my, it's a memory I actually have not thought about in a while. Senior year, I had foot surgery done, and I really jumped back quite fast after that. Like within the week, I was trying to run again because, it was my senior year. I didn't want to miss out.
Of course.
Senior year, also COVID. But this was right before COVID. Actually, this is a lie. I'm thinking of when I, sprained my ankle.
She just lied to us on camera, everyone. We have a liar in the... I'm going to pray for you for that one.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But, kind of the same thing. I wasn't really supposed to be running again. I was in a boot, but I was like, no, this is my senior year. You get this once.
Yeah.
And I probably wasn't going to be running again, but, I jumped back fast. I had a race. It was our sectional race, I believe. And I had not ran that whole week before because I had, obviously not had been running. So the first 2 miles, great. The last mile was not great. I died. But that first 2 miles, there was these one or two girls that were supposed to be sticking with me, and I paced them those 2 miles, and they ended up getting PRs.
Yeah.
That's great for them. But I was like, man, this was like probably my last race. And that was just, I crossed the finish line. I was just so disappointed just because, mentally I felt great, but physically, not running for a week,
Oh, yeah,
you can really tell a difference. So that was just really hard for me. People had come to watch me run, and, it was one of the big races, and we ended up qualifying for, I can't remember if it was state or something else. But I was ready to, I was like, all right, now I can get one more chance. So, I've been running, whatever. And then my coach calls me, the day before our race and was like, hey, you've been exposed to COVID and you are quarantined. I was are you kidding me?
No.
I was like, all right. So that was really, 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 really frustrating because I was like, that was my last race ever that I didn't get to run. That was just so frustrating, but I ended up, you're supposed to stay at home. You're supposed to, not go anywhere. But I put sweatpants on and a sweatshirt and put my hood on and, pulled it so it's, only this much of my face showing. Sat in the car, and I think that race was in Elmwood, at the Elmwood course. And I went and watched my team just because, I would want someone to come out and still watch me and be a part of the team, even though I couldn't be with them. But, I shouted from the doors, and, it was just good to see them still running. But that just taught me, things may not always go your way, but you can still show up in different ways that, God's given you opportunity to be there for. But that was just, I don't know. I can't remember the original question, but
You had nailed the original question. It was
Yeah.
one of your favorite running stories, and
Oh, yeah.
I love that you really just didn't give up. And we wish that COVID didn't happen, and there's a lot of stories of people not being able to play. And I'm so sorry you never got to run again in a race, but you got to run with me. So come on.
Well, yeah, and then Milliken happened, so I got to run some races.
Also true. You did
Not
run
my
a
prime
Milliken.
time, but I got to run some.
Still got to run races.
Yeah.
Though.
Yep.
So, but you were the team player. You were selfless. I love the word selfless. I know we use that at Westside a lot, and that's another word of being selfless. And I think that's really important. It shows character and who you are, and it shows you how good of a Christian you are. I love that. All right, so continuing this on, so future plans. Do you want to stay in Springfield, Central Illinois? Do you want to move around? Do you want to stay interior design? What are we feeling, Miss Menards?
So right now I'd like to stay in Springfield just because my family, almost my whole family's here within a 10-mile radius.
She just wants to be around the cool host over here.
Yep.
Yep.
And my friends are here, but really I would love to not stay in Illinois. I would love to be in Missouri at some point, or, I've never really been to Tennessee, but it kind of looks like Missouri.
Have you never been to Tennessee?
I've never been.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
I might have been when I was, young. I think we did, but, I haven't been there since.
The mountains are beautiful.
Yes. So that's where, eventually one day maybe I would like to, end up there. Career-wise, I would like to stay with interior design too, but with talking with some of my coworkers at Menards, I think one thing I really wish I would have learned how to do is construction management stuff, or really learn, like I said earlier, really learn how to use tools. You got big contractors coming in, you got these men, women too, coming in with their tool belts, and they're like, hey, I need a 2x4, or I need these big, the wood. or I need this tool, or they show me a screw and a bolt that they need. I'm like, well, I have no idea what you need. Like, but I would love to learn. If I'm gonna be putting up some wall, like I would like to be the one to actually do the designing physically after I do the renders. So it's just, I think at some point I would like to be able to flip houses on my own or do projects. So yeah, at some point that's what I would like to be doing in my future.
I love it. I love it. You always have time to learn about tools and construction, and there's always stuff. You're only 22 years old. You got plenty of life left in you. I do suggest Tennessee. Nashville's gorgeous. Nashville's not gorgeous. Nashville's very country but city. You go over to Knoxville, Gatlinburg. That's prime time.
Yeah.
Prime space. Okay, so you are living in Central Illinois. You've been here most of your life here. How has the Central Illinois area people had impact on you?
The people just in general?
Yeah, the people, the community. How's the community had an impact on you? What's different about Central Illinois than any other place in the nation, you think?
Well, the other day, I don't know if it was at Menards or somewhere, but they were saying how they had moved from somewhere, and Springfield just has a ton of nice people.
Yeah.
People who will come talk to you, come greet you, they were from California. And yes, to me, I think of LA, and I'm like,
I've been to LA.
Yeah, I wouldn't portray people being like, oh, hello, good morning. I don't know. I don't know what I think LA people are like. Nothing. I've never really met people.
They're really not that bad. It depends on the area.
Yeah. So I think just, there's little communities in Springfield that, different people, you're from Rochester, and I've always heard great things. I've never been there, but I think there's just so many different communities that are, it's a small enough town, but a big enough town where you can have, if you want it, some really good people in your life. But for me, the Plains community and West Side community, and even the little community that we're building with our Bible study right now,
yeah.
It's I've never met half of these people, but they're great.
I love it.
And it's just easy to meet new people and make new friends, and that's always something we should be doing too, because then you can reach more people with God and just make some really lifelong friendships.
I love that. You also have never been to Rochester?
I've never been. I've ran a race there, but that's it.
I don't have to give you the Grand Rochester tour.
Yeah.
So right here we have the high school, the gas station, and that's about it.
Yeah, I've been to the school, but that's it.
It's okay. I'll probably host Bible study at some point at my house, as I'm gonna guess. If you all are gonna, because I'm the one who's driving all the way everywhere.
Yes,
you all live close.
Yep.
But I know I love that. I think it's the same thing with me, and I love you shouting our Bible study. I don't know half the people in there, but just to sit there on Monday for 3 hours and meet these wonderful people who are gonna all push each other to strive in our spiritual relationship with God and also our work ethic. I love it. That's why I've had you around in my life. You always push me to be a better man, and I'm always grateful of that. All right, so last question of the day. Advice. What advice would you give to people our age going into a workforce? And it's hard. The workforce is hard right now. It's tricky to find a job. But what's your number one piece of advice for anyone who's coming out of college and looking for a job?
I would say my best advice. I mean, obviously, I'm a fresh person looking for jobs and stuff too.
Of course.
But my thing lately, actually, at Menards, has been asking all of my coworkers their life advice.
Yeah.
And kind of just putting all that in my mind. It's, do something that makes you happy, because it's your life. Other people are going to have their opinions and, their thoughts of what you should do. But I think it's not they're not the ones living it. So do what makes you happy and have fun with it. And it doesn't need to be a desk job 24/7 where you just sit there and don't have a life. Try to get a remote job and travel. Go see the world. Go see your friends. Go be a kid. You might be over 20, but you're technically still a kid. Go have fun. Enjoy life, and don't take things so seriously, because one day you're going to look back and wish that you would have done this, would have done that, and you're not going to have that time or that young body anymore. So that's my best advice. Just, don't think too deep on things.
Yeah, I love that. Love that. Don't think too deep. Look into everything. We're 22 years old. There's so much more that we're gonna happen the next 10, 15 years. It's prime time.
Yep.
It's prime time.
Yep.
Make sure you use it. I know you're gonna use it in a correct way. I know you're gonna do great things no matter what you do. Whatever interior design, you're gonna be on the house channel one day. Welcome to Ani's show, where I'm on the house channel designing it, and Zach Brewer's out here selling my houses.
You can be in charge of the channel.
And I'll be in charge of the channel. I'll be the host.
Yeah.
This is Jack R here, and welcome to the house show. I don't know. We need a cool name for the
We can
house
be a
show.
TV show. It could be like Fixer Upper, but not.
Fixer Downer. That's a terrible name.
Yeah, no.
That was bad. Fixer Downer. Who knows? All right, we got time to work on that.
Yes,
No
we
rush.
do.
No rush in that. Well, Ani, thank you for joining me on the podcast today. Absolutely wonderful stories. You're going to do wonderful things, if that be in your personal life, your work life, your spiritual life. I'm excited to sit here and watch you grow as a young woman and, just thrive. And I think you're going to thrive here in the next several years. So thank you for coming in and talking on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hey, so if you are thinking about doing podcasting, digital media, me and Anthony here, we would love to have you. We just worked with a big company this week, working on several short films, podcasting. Give me a text or call at 217-801-2909. Once again, that's 217-801-2909. You can also email me at heartmgdigital.com. No, heartmgdigital@gmail.com. Eventually, it's going to be .com here soon, actually, fun fact. But we're excited. We're excited for the future. We got a lot of good ideas coming up, a lot of good people on the podcast. My mom has been filming some wonderful stuff on What I Pretend to Know. Make sure to watch all of our podcasts with both of them on Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Guys, there's a lot of good information coming out here. We have a lot of great stuff coming. It's not even August yet. Let's keep going. Have a wonderful day. And enjoy the beautiful weather week, because I know when you're going to be watching this, it'll be a lot cooler than it is today when it's super hot. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.